Cheers.
Cheers. Hi, Arts and Humanities. I'm Nicole Palladino, the 2020-2021 Arts and Humanities Students' Council President.
And I'm Avali, and I'm this year's Arts and Humanities USC Councillor. So first and foremost, we elected counselors to the hiring panels for the hired VP positions. So that's Governance and Finance, the Student Programming and Support VP, as well as the Communications VP. I was elected to the hiring panel for the VP Comms. So that will be what I'm up to for the next month, is making that selection for the executive moving forward. As well, Council approved and voted on the student financial aid policy paper. So that has been approved to move forward. So we can use that to levy our conversations with administration around financial aid and making sure that all students have access to a financially stable education that does not leave them with inordinate amounts of debt. And then finally, we passed a motion to attach our voting records for 4 action items directly into the minutes of the USC meetings, just for greater transparency and accessibility, so constituents are able to get a better sense of how their representatives are voting on their behalf.
Today is a very special Coffee Chats episode because we are here with our AHSC presidential candidate and AHSC councillor candidate, Jack and Celine.
Hi, my name is Celine. I'm your 2021 to 2022 Arts Councillor candidate.
I'm Jack Bradley. I'm your 2021 to 2022 presidential candidate.
So I have a few questions to ask Jack and Celine. What are your 3 goals for your position?
One is creating the vice president equity and equity portfolio underneath it to sort of restructure council in a way that legitimizes advocacy even further and allows us to function as an advocacy and equity-based body. I want to create an owl site platform to sort of like help with the disconnectedness that's within our faculty, because it is really hard for people to communicate with one another, especially with COVID, but that's just a long-standing issue. And I'm hoping to create more opportunities, like advocate for more internships while creating like contests and bursaries to celebrate students.
The 3 main goals of my platform are connection and outreach, representation and advocacy, and equity and wellness. So for connection outreach, just making sure that people are informed and up to date and they have an understanding of what the USC is and what it can do for them. For representation advocacy, making sure that arts is given a representative voice and vote, and also advocating for better academic accommodations and internship opportunities, for example. And for equity and wellness, I would do things such as sharing comprehensive guides about mental health resources so people feel like they're more accessible to them.
So what is one thing that Nicole and I have started in our respective positions that you want to build on or continue in the coming year?
You already know exactly where both of us are going with this. I definitely want to continue the work that's been done with the new anti-sexual and gender-based violence working group. I feel like that's a really important initiative to continue, especially because it's only new this year, co-created by our arts counselor, sat on by multiple arts members.
What has been done with the working group so far is definitely just kind of laying down the groundwork for what we can do in the future. So continuing to kind of interview survivors and making sure all the ethical procedures are in place. But I guess maybe to bring up something that I've seen done recently is kind of putting out graphics that summarize the motions that have been happening at each meeting. I think that's a really good way for people to kind of feel that Arts Council is more accessible to them and for them to actually start learning about kind of what it is we talk about in those meetings.
Bridget, our graphic designer, has been like so swamped with so many graphics this year because of COVID and just constantly having to, if students need to know anything, it's going to be on social media just because we can't be in person. So yeah, she's done an amazing job with that.
Shout out to Bridget. We love you.
Why did you both decide to get involved with AHSC, and maybe you want to touch on the roles you had this year or previous years?
During O Week, honestly, it was the Arts and Humanities Student Council presentation that was given. And I've always been sort of like student council vibey. I just saw the energy and immediately knew that I wanted to have some sort of part in that. I started out as a first-year communications associate in the comms portfolio, and then after that I was elected as English and Writing Studies DR into the academics portfolio.
For me, I was pretty lucky to be able to live on the SASA Living Learning Community floor in my first year, and a lot of people in SASA are in Arts and Humanities Student Council, so they were really kind in encouraging me to apply. So I was a first year events associate. I really loved helping my VP events kind of organize everything, but I also really liked the idea of getting more into advocacy. So I was elected as the Linguistics, Languages, and Cultures DR.
Thank you so much for Jack and Celine for joining us today. We really appreciate you taking your time out of your day to coffee chat with us.
If you have any questions about the meeting or want any clarification on anything that we've talked about in this coffee chats, you can reach me at eva.ali@westernusc.ca.
And you can reach me at npaldino@uwo.ca.
This hair strand is having a moment. Hello.
It's giving me very, like, greaser vibes. Just go with it.
The Outsiders.